To start with, the current ratio for Apple Inc. in 2021, which is 1.07 times, compared to 2022, which is 0.88 times, showed that Apple is capable of meeting its company's short-term financial obligation using its liquid assets. This shows that Apple Inc. has more than enough liquid assets to cover its short-term liabilities. Quick ratio is more stringent when it comes to the measure of liquidity. So it excludes inventory from current assets because inventory may not be easily convertible into cash in short term. Apple in 2021 quick ratio, which is 1.02 times, is higher than 2022. Quick ratio, which is 0.85 times. It shows that in 2021, Apple Inc. can meet its short-term obligation without relying on the sales of inventory, which is a positive sign. Apple in 2022 current ratio is below 1, which is 0.88 times, as showed above. This showed that Apple Inc. failed to cover its short-term liabilities with its available liquid assets. Apple Inc. financial statement shows that Apple Inc. have a total of $135,405 of current assets but higher amount of current liabilities in 2022. This showed that Apple Inc. is not capable of paying their liabilities as their current liabilities is higher than their current assets. This might raise an issue among their creditors and investors as they need to rely on borrowing to meet short-term commitments. Apple Inc. quick ratio is also below 1, which means the company may struggle to meet its short-term obligation without relying on selling its inventory. They have limited paying ability to pay off their obligations. It might also mean that company have a high dependency on selling its product to generate cash, which may not be ideal if the sales is slow and the inventory is not marketable. One of the factors that affect the current performance of Apple Inc. is the stability of developed countries, which creates the opportunities for Apple's expansion. The high economic growth rates of Asian countries are opportunities for Apple to increase. In exploiting the economic opportunities, it is essential to consider forces in the international market. Written in an CNN article, Apple got rich in China. Other Asian markets offer the next golden opportunity. In this article, it is written that Apple has launched an online store in Vietnam in 18 May 2023. The opening is followed by the high-profile launch of its first physical shops in India, which now allows consumers in the fast-growing Southeast Asian economy to be able to buy any Apple product directly for the first time. Markets like Vietnam, India, and Indonesia are becoming more important for Apple. However, its growth in developed markets, including China, slows down. Originally, China was essential to Apple's company and served as a backbone for both its production and consumption. While it remains key to Apple's operation, the tech giant is now hedging its bets. Moreover, Apple achieved all-time records in Mexico, Indonesia, the Philippines, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the UAE, including in the Brazil, Malaysia, and India, told by the analysts. And analysts predict that over the coming years, Indonesia, Malaysia, and India will comprise a bigger piece of the pie for Apple, given its effort in these countries. A factor that affects Apple's current performance is new product innovations. Apple's ability to introduce innovative products and technologies has a significant impact on its performance. Apple's main purpose is to create products that enrich people's daily life. They do not only develop entirely new products, but also continually innovating within those categories. In January 2023, Apple released new 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pro models equipped with updated M2 Pro and M2 Max chips, as well as new M2 and M2 Pro Max mini machines and a new large size of HomePod 12. Apple also released their new iPhone 15 on September 12, 2023 with the new features such as an USB-C which brings one cable to charge them on, a periscope camera catches up to Samsung, action button which offers new level of customization, and made with titanium which make it tougher and lighter. Despite the minor setbacks predicted by the forecast in 2022, they predicted Apple stocks in 2023 will increase which will improve the company performance. Lastly, the increasing dependence on digital system. I said above, Apple's main purpose is to create products that enrich people's daily life. For example, the iPhone has substituted so many other gadgets, making it a non-replaceable item in an individual's everyday life. iPhone has replaced include alarms, clocks, books, camcorders, flashlights, and many more. Apple has introduced several products that is innovative and help to ease human life in the 21st century. One of it is the voice assistant, which is called as Siri. Siri can help users by scheduling reminders, jotting down notes, or checking the weather. The latest product that Apple created is the AirTags. Apple was a bit late when it comes to smart trackers and it is brought by Tile to the market years earlier. Although it is not the world's first wireless tracker, they provide more precise tracking and easy integration with the iPhone and the rest of Apple ecosystem.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Atika Husna, and today I'll be explaining two factors that affect the effectiveness of the company in managing its asset. So let's get started. So, from the Research Journal of Ratio Analysis, Colgate-Palmolive India by Apurva Kadak Joshi, it has been shown that Colgate-Palmolive have used a variety of ways in managing their performance in their company, and the major ways to manage its performance is by using risk analysis and data analytics. So, for risk analysis, it is mostly used to interpret the financial statement of the systematic study ratio, and they use to develop the financial statement which consists of strengths and weaknesses of the company. This also include the performance of current financial condition. The most common benefit of risk analysis is operational efficiency. So, Colgate also offers a variety of product lines such as oral care, personal care, home care, and pet nutrition. They have also stated in their SWOT analysis, which consists of their excellent advertising and brand recall. Their strong visibility made their customer loyal towards their product, and they are able to create revenue with full utilization of asset. So, Colgate-Palmolive also use the risk analysis where the low-cost strategy is taken into their account. Their accurate forecasting help a lot in identifying them to reduce the cost. Due to this, they are able to focus on the process efficiency where 5% of the forecast can deviate their outwards and inwards costs. So, because Colgate-Palmolive is a low-cost producer, they are able to manage their risk and gain more competitive advantage over their competitors. So, in oral care industry, their major competitors is Darlie, Oral-B, and Sensodyne. The second factor is data analytics. In data analytics, there are a subset which is data analysis. One of the examples that are used in the company is current ratio. The ratio is important in testing the short-term debt of the business. However, the ratio are not always able to pay off their liabilities due to their large amount of current asset. Next, in data analytics for a better development. The company is using data analytics in order to invest and generate revenue growth of their business. For example, they want to deliver a good product to their customers. So, they invested on data analysis activities. By having a good data analytics, they are able to grow their business. And on top of that, they also invest on artificial intelligence, which is AI, that are used to do more research of the company development. The valuation created from data analysis also include cash flow, return on investment. So the cash generating asset from the company have helped to understand the brand value. In order to optimize the value of the company, they use a systematic cash flow method to generate asset of the company. As a result, the investor will take this as an opportunity to grow their investment in the company. So moving on to question 2B, the ratio that we choose is asset turnover ratio. So the calculation to calculate the ratio is net sales divided by average total asset. The ratio is commonly used by third parties such as creditors and investors. When calculating the average total asset, the total asset will include tangible and intangible asset. So let me give an example. From the graph, we can see that the ratio has decreased from the year 2012 to 2016. This may occur when they decide to rely more on human capital rather than fully utilizing their asset. Thus, Colgate needs to focus more on improving their innovation and research to fulfill their customer needs and wants. There are two major factors to improve their asset turnover ratio, which is increasing their revenue growth and accelerating account receivable. Company is receiving low turnover ratio, it can be indicated that the company is having production excess, poor inventory management, and process of collection practices. Thus, this is mainly highlighted so the company can have a good asset turnover ratio. By increasing their revenue, it must also utilize the asset in the most efficient way as possible. For example, the company can do more promotional activities. So these promotional activities also includes advertisement, or they can actually make a pop-up booth at the mall. Another example is the company can lower their fixed assets such as building, furniture, and machinery. The company can rent a building instead of purchasing a unit because it will make their fixed asset high. Next, the company can improve their performance by accelerating account receivable. Account receivable from external sources can make the performance drop. Thus, this will eventually reduce the asset turnover ratio. It is really important for the company to make collection in account receivable quickly. The company can analyze their asset management and improving their productivity of asset given. In other words, output is increasing while the expenses remain slow.
Next, question 3. Interpretation based on the debt. Company to PM debt ratio has risen over time, which is 28% from the year 2021 to 32% in the year 2022, while industry average is 35%. This implies that the company has more debt than the industrial average. A high debt ratio is problematic since it may lead to unstable financial and higher in expenses. The company's debt to equity ratio has also climbed from 53% in 2021 to 55% in 2022. It is considered greater than the industrial average since the industrial average is only 43%. This indicates that the company is depending more on the financial via debt than the equity. It will result in heightened financing risk. Although the time interest earned has increased from 3 times in the year 2021 to 5.2 times in the year 2022, it is still less than the average industrial, which is 4.1 times. This shows that the company may struggle to cover its interest expenses compared to its competitors in the industry.
Next is profitability ratio. Look at the second table. Gross profit margin in year 2022, 76.5%. In year 2021 is 65%. And average ratio is 60%. Next, net profit margin in year 2022, 25%. In 2021, 24.5%. And average ratio is 35%. Gross profit margin. Company 2PM gross profit margin increased from year 2021, which is 65% to 76.5% in the year 2022. Gross profit margin industry average ratio is 60%. Thus, company 2PM has a higher gross profit margin than the industry average, which is a positive sign. Next, net profit margin. Company 2PM net profit margin increased from year 2021, which is 24.5% to 25% in the year 2022. Net profit margin industry average ratio is 35%. Thus, company's 2PM has a lower net profit margin than the industry average, which a negative sign. This indicates that the company expenses, including interest, exceed its revenue. Will I invest in this company? As a result of my decision, I will not invest in this company. It is because although company's 2PM has a higher gross profit margin, it remains concerned with the rising debt level. Next, lower net profit margin. When compared to the industry average, the higher debt ratio indicates potential financial risks. Other than that, lower profitability ratio will give a low profit, which I may not consider as an investment option.